All right. Hear that alarm? We are at the counting house, which is the bank in Act 3. And I'm trying to rob it, but these guards are not letting me. So I'm going to have to teach them a lesson. So let's get it popping. Fire Lord shit. Let's go and start it off with some Arcane Battery. A Wall of Fire at level 6. Actually, we're going to keep it at level 4 because it doesn't do that much crazy-ass damage. Can I reach all the way over there? Wall of Fire. All of them. Boom. Yeah. Alright, good shit, good shit. Now, we're gonna go ahead and Arcane Battery. Oh, did I Arcane Battery that? Whoops. Oh well, it's fine. Heat Convergence. Level 6. Bang. Boom. Okay. Little Cooking Spell. Fireball again. At level 5. Bang. Boop. Okay, we get another action. We get another action. Mind me. We're gonna go ahead and do another fireball. At level 5. To these guys. Okay. Boop. Nice. Let's try to kill them all. What they gonna do? Because I also want to show off how tanky the build is as well. Normally I only show one turn in these demonstration intros, but you know. Okay, he went through the Wall of Fire, took some damage. They also take Wall of Fire damage on their turn as well. Alright. So boom. Boom. A little bit more damage there. They're constantly missing me because shield plus my AC, we almost have 30 AC with this supposedly glass cannon spellcaster build. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty good, pretty good. Alright. Okay, we took a hit there. So it's all good. Don't step into the Wall of Fire. Okay. We've only got hit like once, and they had to roll a natural 20. Crazy shit. Okay, Wall of Fire damage pulling through. Oh, this is a really good fireball spot right here. All right. Heat conversions every turn, just to make sure. You know what I'm saying? All right, boom. Let's land a good fireball onto these 4 gentlemen. What? Come on, come on. Where's the sweet spot? Right here? Right here. Bang. Boom. Okay, how many we got left? We got 2 left. Alright, let's go ahead and change to single target damage. We're gonna bop this dude over here. Boop. Dead. Now let's go ahead and bop this dude over here. Boop. Dead. And I believe there's one more person, if I'm not mistaken. Where you at? Oh, he's over here. We might as well go kill him off. We're gonna fly, because we got that partial illithid power. Turn on a heat convergence. Quicken spell. Bang. And then one more scorching ray. Hopefully this kills him. If all of it hits, then it should kill him. Come on now. Let's go. And with that, we just robbed the bank, y'all. That was what, 10 enemies? Shit. What's going on with y'all, man? AoE back at you again with another Baldur's Gate 3 video build guide, and this time I'm going to show y'all my version of a fire spellcaster that mainly uses, of course, fire spells, and I call him the Fire Lord. Alright? I'm low-key running out of names for these builds. Alright, so bear with me. But yeah, it focuses on mainly using fire damage, and the first thing I want to mention about this build is it's probably the best leveling build to do throughout the game. Okay, it's one of the best type classes, type builds to have in your party because it just does super high burst damage, and it uses very classic D&D high damage spellcasting abilities like Fireball and Wall of Fire. Okay, with Fireball and Wall of Fire and a few more things that we take later into account, this build can damn near solo the whole damn game. I mean, we just killed literally 10 high level, high HP enemies to be able to rob a bank, as you just saw in the intro. So this build is super strong, and it's strong for right from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. game. Super duper strong. The only time this build starts falling off is when enemies start becoming fire resistant. And it is also totally useless in the House of Hope in Act 3 for Raphael. But other than that, this build is very, very strong throughout the whole damn game. And once you get to that point, you can obviously just respec into a lightning build or an ice build, right? But I want to show y'all my version of a potent fire spellcaster. And we're going to go over of course, how I do my build guides. I'm going to try to keep it shorter too. I know some people have been saying I talk too much. I mean, that's just me. I don't know what to tell y'all. That's just me in a nutshell. You know what I'm saying? I like to talk. I like to talk about games. I like to talk about, especially games that I'm playing. So it is what it is. But I'm going to try to keep it shorter, just because I know I can. Trust me. I get annoyed when I watch my own videos. I understand. Trust. Okay. But anyway, I'm going to try to keep it shorter, and we're going to go over the levels, we're going to go over the items, and we're going to go over, some more shit that I use, and how to use the heat mechanic, which is what we're going to use with this build to add a little bit of extra damage to our spells. Alright, so, without further ado, I present to y'all the Fire Lord. Alright, so first thing, like I said, you can play this build right from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, and you'll be totally fine. It is strong from level 1 all the way until level 12. So, at level 1, our first level, and we're going to stay here for a little while, is Sorcerer. Of course, Sorcerer is the best spellcaster, I'd say. It's just really good at dealing damage. When you wanna be a spellcaster, and you want to deal burst damage, and you want to delete the whole screen, Sorcerer is just the way to go. And also you have proficiency in Constitution saving throws, which no other spellcasting class gets, and that's another reason why sorcerers are so damn strong. So we're going to start off with level 1 sorcerer. For the cantrips, I just chose all 3 of the elements because they are useful at some point in the game. Alright, of course our firebolt is our damage one, but ice can be used to put out fires or make icy surfaces, and shocking grass can be used in melee range, or to unlock a certain dragon in Act 3 that I won't spoil, okay? And of course, the 4th cantrip that I took is light, and this is actually pretty important because we want to cast light on our weapon to activate some of our rings that we'll be taking, which you probably know where that's going, okay? For the spells, Magic Missile and Shield, for sure, 100%. Magic Missile early game is super good because your charisma stat is low, and we don't have any items that boost, our spell DC or our attack rolls, but Magic Missile hits 100% of the time. It's guaranteed damage, and guaranteed damage is super good early game. Alright, so you definitely want to take Magic Missile, and you also definitely want to take Shield. Again, early game we don't have any items, and we're cloth users too. We're cloth users, and sorcerers are not proficient in shields, so you're going to be pretty squishy, and Shield helps supplement that and makes you not so glass cannony, you know what I'm saying? So Magic Missile and Shield are definitely the first 2 spells that I would pick as a level 1 sorcerer. For our subclass, we are going with Draconic Bloodline yet again, because again we get a free mage armor with Draconic Resilience, and the Dragon Ancestor that we pick is red fire because it comes with Burning Hands, and also once we're level 6 with this subclass we get a boost to our fire damage spells according to our charisma modifier. Alright, very important here. So it has defense and offense, and of course pick whatever color you want. I went with the theme red, and I wanted to make sure you can see that little red on my character, you know what I'm saying? As far as the ability scores go, I like to give the hag hair to my charisma character just because it just seems the best thing to do. So because of that, I put my charisma at 17. It becomes 18 once I get the hag hair super early. And it's your choice here. You can choose to either have dexterity at 16 or constitution at 16. Either or, just because I like having my dex high for that AC and the initiative bonus, and because we're a spellcaster, we don't really need super high constitution anyway. We just need our constitution high enough so that we can make our constitution saving throws, and at 14 we should be just fine, okay? And as far as the fort stat, I picked intelligence for that +2 just because my spellcasters are normally my intelligence checkers in the game, so I picked Arcana and Religion, which are important checks eventually once you get further into the game. At level 2, as a sorcerer, we unlock sorcery points, which we don't really care about this early in the game, which we much more care about it later when we get better meta magic. But we do get sorcery points and meta magic, which we're going to start using later. We also get create sorcery points and create spell slots. You can convert and change your sorcery points into spell slots, or change your spell slots into sorcery points. And normally what I do, once we complete the build, I like to change all my level 2 sorcery points. I like to change all my level 2 spell slots into sorcery points, and that's why you saw earlier in the video why I had so many sorcery points. I have damn near 15 after every long rest, because level 2 spell slots don't really matter. You want to use your level 1 spell slots for shield, and your higher level spell slots for fireball, wall of fire, etc. Okay? And as far as the spell that I chose, it doesn't matter what spell you choose here, because we're going to replace it next level anyway. So just choose another damage spell. You can use Chromatic Orb. A good combo that I like to use early game is Chromatic Orb plus Twin Spell. The Thunder version of Chromatic Orb does the most damage, and if you twin it, that's like a potential 20 damage to 2 targets. And at level 2, that's a crazy. So you can use that early, but again, it doesn't really matter what spell we choose, because we're going to replace it next level anyway. At level 3, as a sorcerer, we get more spell slots, we get more sorcery points, and the spells, we also unlock level 2 spells. And of course, the level 2 spell that we're going to choose is our single target spell, Scorching Ray. This is our single target spell throughout the rest of the game. You can upcast it to deal a lot of... you guys just saw I took out 2 100 HP high level targets with some decent AC with level 4 Scorching Ray, not even level 5 or 6 Scorching Ray, and we were doing 100 damage each ray. So it's pretty crazy, and this is your single target spell 100% throughout the rest of the game. As far as the meta magic goes, we pick our best meta magic, which is of course Quicken Spell. Quicken Spell means you can spend sorcery points to use a spell as a bonus action, which is really strong. So by level 3, you can already cast 2 Scorching Rays per turn as long as you have the sorcery points available for it. Crazy strong, okay? And for replacing spell, again, you want to replace Chromatic Orb with Misty Step, because Misty Step is super good for being mobile, and because we are kind of glass cannon and don't really have much movement speed with our character, having Misty Step is a nice get out of jail free card. At level 4, as a sorcerer, more spell slots, more sorcery points. We get a cantrip here, which doesn't really freaking matter. I just chose Bone Chill just because sometimes you need things to not heal as an enemy, whatever, but normally you're going to be doing burst damage anyway, so it really doesn't matter what cantrip you choose here. You could choose, if you don't have friends in your party, choose friends, but other than that, it really doesn't matter. As far as the spells go, the spell you choose at this level doesn't matter also, because we're going to be replacing it next level. So I just chose Cloud of Daggers because you want something to concentrate on, and this early in the game, Cloud of Daggers basically does double damage, because it does damage when you cast it, and it also does damage on the enemy's turn. So I like using Cloud of Daggers early to do some decent damage, or to, funnel a doorway to take out enemies pretty fast. But again, really doesn't matter. And of course we get a feat, which is the most important thing about being level 4 for any class. And of course the feat we're choosing is the ability score improvement to get that charisma to 19. And of course, if you went with the hag hair, like I would suggest, your charisma is now 20, and having a charisma at 20 at level 4 makes your spells hit more often, makes your spells hit harder, and it's just super good, super early for a level 4 sorcerer. At level 5, as a sorcerer, again, more spell slots, more sorcery points, and we also unlock level 3 spells. And of course, the level 3 spell that we're going to pick here is none other than Fireball, which is our main damage spell throughout the whole game when it comes to area of effect, or AoE. Scorching Ray is our single target, for sure, all the time, but for AoE, Fireball. Fireball plus Wall of Fire, which we're going to talk about later. So Fireball, you can upcast it for more damage, and it's just probably the most known classic D&D spell ever, okay? And like I said, we're going to replace Cloud of Daggers, okay, with another concentration spell, which we are now going to be concentrating on forever, is Haste. And every time you cast Haste, I recommend twin spelling it, okay? Another reason why Sorcerer is so damn strong is you can Quicken Spell for an extra bonus action. So now we can do double Fireball per turn. And with Haste, now we can do triple Fireball. But not only that, if you twin spell Haste, you can haste yourself and your other damage dealer. And now, at this point in the game, if you have this character in your party, fights won't be lasting more than one turn. Guaranteed. Alright? Very broken. Very trivial, but if you like that type of gameplay, if you like being overpowered, this is the build for you. Fire Lord, baby. At level 6, as a sorcerer, some more spell slots, some more sorcery points, and we also get our elemental affinity damage from our draconic bloodline. Now whenever we cast a spell that deals fire damage, it adds our charisma modifier, and our charisma modifier is 20 at this point with the hag hair. So now that's an extra +5 to each fireball, to each scorching ray, to each firebolt. It's great. Alright, and the spell that we're going to choose at level 6 is none other than Counterspell. There are going to be some times where you have to block the enemy's fireball or their hold person. Something threatening to your team, boom, Counterspell is over with. Level 7 Sorcerer, spell slots, sorcery points. We unlock level 4 spells, and the last damage spell that we're going to choose for our build is, of course, Wall of Fire. Wall of Fire is super good. Especially, it's very easy to manipulate enemies in this game, because the AI, unfortunately, including your teammates, is very stupid. So, you can have this character solo, just like you saw. You can hit an enemy and bait all the rest of the enemies into like a corridor or a door or any type of narrow or narrow lining, okay? And once they're all lined up, drop a huge wall of fire, which as you just saw in the intro, can extend very far, has a very long range, and each of them will take wall of fire damage when you cast it and on their turn. It's crazy. Wall of Fire, easily one of the best damage / control spells in the game, and really will make this build go even more online than it already was. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, aren't we supposed to be concentrating on haste? Absolutely. It really depends. If there's more than 10 enemies, it's a Wall of Fire fight. If it's one enemy, it's a haste fight. It's really easy to make that difference there. But again, Wall of Fire, super good. There are a lot of fights in the game that has 10 plus enemies. Line them up, manipulate their movement, drop a Wall of Fire, a GG's, okay? Okay, level 8 Sorcerer, and this is in fact the last level of Sorcerer that we are taking. We get some more spell slots, we get some more sorcery points, and the spell that I chose is Dimension Door. Alright, now that we have Misty Step and Dimension Door, if this character gets in the bad spot, you can use one of those spells to get out of there, alright? So I wanted to focus on mobility and fire spells, and that's exactly what we got, plus a little counter spell here and there. Now, the more important part, at level 8, we get our feat. There's a bunch of feats you can tick here. It's really about your playstyle. For me, I want to do as much damage as possible, and like I said, once you reach Act 2, Act 3, there are some enemies that are going to be resistant to fire damage, and the best thing to do against that is to cancel that resistance with Elemental Adept Fire. So this will boost your damage, not by much, but by enough to make it noticeable. And of course, whenever you cast fire spells, you cannot roll a 1 on your damage die. So all those ones will get increased to at least a 2, which is really good for multiple die spells like Fireball and Wall of Fire. So for me, I chose Elemental Adept Fire just for that most damage possible. But for you, hey man, Alert is really good. Alert means you will go first all the time, and you can't be surprised. There are some points in the game where being surprised kind of sucks, so you can do that too if you want. You can also go dual wielder and carry 2 staffs that give +1 spell DC and +1 spell attack rolls. That's totally fine too. All right. Another good one is lucky. You basically have advantage on every single roll in the game. That's good too. There's resilient to give you proficiency in a saving throw of your choice. There's tough to give you more HP if you want. The second best option after Elemental Adept, or maybe even the first, is Warcaster, which will give you concentration or advantage on all your concentration saving throws. Okay, so there's a lot of good choices here. Pick whatever you want, but for me, I like damage, I like bursty, so I went with Elemental Adept Fire. At level 9, we are leaving Sorcerer finally to go into our first multi-class dip, and that dip we're going to take is into Wizard. Yup, Wizard. At level 1 Wizard, we don't really get much. We don't really get anything important. It's more so the subclass that we're going to take next level. But for the cantrips, I just chose the damaging ones. that we're never going to use anyway. We're not going to use any of these cantrips ever in the game. You might use Mage Hand from time to time, but that's it. So again, cantrips don't really matter. Spells also don't really matter. Unless you don't have a person in your party that doesn't have ritual spells, then just grab all the ritual spells. Enhanced Sleep, triple your jumping distance. Long Strider, give more movement speed. You should have Long Strider on every single one of your characters after every long rest. Please do. Disguise Self, whatever. Featherfall. Okay, these are ritual spells, which means they don't cast a spell slot, so they are free. They are literally free spells that you can cast, and you should be casting them whenever you get the opportunity to, okay? And for the other spells, I chose Fog Cloud and Find Familiar, because when you use your wizard spells, like a damaging spell or a spell that requires a DC, it uses your intelligence modifier, okay? And we don't have any intelligence, so it's useless to pick any damage spells or CC spells as a wizard, because you will most likely not, that DC will be very, very low. So choose stuff that don't require a DC, okay? And again, it doesn't matter what spells you choose, because I just chose the spells that you get from Act 3, which is Artistry of War, which I'm working on a build for this, by the way, so look out for that. At level 2, as a wizard, pick your spells, doesn't matter. Prepare your spells, doesn't matter. I went with the Act 3 scroll spells, okay? But most importantly, we're getting level 2 wizard to become an evocation wizard to get sculpt spells. Now, whenever you cast a fireball, so normally the problem is when you cast fireball, when you cast wall of fire, your party members are most likely going to be in the vicinity or in that area of effect range. And you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person who just kills everyone, including your teammates, okay? Being a level 2 wizard, being a level 2 evocation wizard helps not be that guy, because you get sculpt spells, which means your party members will take 0 damage from your spells. Super important here. Now, you can totally not do this, and you can, for shits and gigs, you can just forego this. But I would recommend doing this, even if you're playing solo, because there have been a little bit too many times where I killed my teammates, and I kind of felt bad. So, level 2 evocation wizard, I recommend getting this. Alright, we are now level 11, and we are multi-classing again into our last multi-class class. And the multi-class that I chose is not really that important. The only reason why we are multi-classing into Cleric is because they come with shield proficiency. That is literally the only reason why I am multi-classing into Cleric. Okay? And it comes with we went with Knowledge Domain to get the... we can be proficient in any type of ability of our choice, kind of like similar to the Githyanki Astral Book or Astral Intelligence or whatever it's called. So yeah, we're really just picking Cleric for the shield proficiency, and it is very important to note that we want to make sure we only multi-class into spell casting classes, because it gives us that level 6 spell slot to cast our fireball or our wall of fire at level 6. All right, so I went with Cleric. You can choose something else if you want, but I like going Cleric just for the shield stuff, and I actually like the Knowledge Domain Cleric because of the extra spell. You can also go Portent, Divination. Wait, no, that's a wizard. Never mind. So yeah, I went with knowledge Domain because the next level we get something. Doesn't really matter. I chose to be expert in Arcana and Religion because there are a few very important checks that require those two things. So boom, this would be your go-to intelligence checker. And as far as the spells go, I just chose Create or Destroy Water just because it's kind of funny. It low-key fits the theme of the build, having a water spell, you know what I'm saying? And our final level, at level 12, we get Knowledge of Ages. Again, this is the only reason why I chose Knowledge Cleric. You can choose whatever spellcasting multi-class you want to choose here, but I just chose Knowledge Cleric because of the shield proficiency, and now we have proficiency all the intelligence skills, which is what I normally use this Knowledge of Ages for, okay? But now that we finished with the leveling portion of the guide, now we're going to go to the items that I chose to use for this build. Alright, so I'm going to go each item piece, why I use it, where I got it, and alternatives that you can use beside that, okay? Also, look at my inventory. God, look at all these scrolls, baby. If you haven't looked at my how to pickpocket video, I suggest looking at that because I have every scroll known to man, and I also have over like 150k gold. But you know, if you look at my inventories, bam, bam, bam. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. Anyway, now that I'm done bragging, let's start with the weapon, the most important one. Marco Heshkir. +1 bonus spell save DC and spell attack rolls, super good. Arcane Battery, you can spend a level 6 spell slot for free, like you saw in the intro, super good. And it also comes with Kareska's Favor, and of course the Kareska's Favor that we choose is the fire one. Now we add even more proficiency bonus to our fire spells on top of our draconic affinity, super good. And whenever you deal damage with a spell, you gain 1 turn of heat. Because we are the Fire Lord, this is also a heat build, alright? And heat basically adds even more damage to your fire spells. So now we have our charisma, our draconic affinity, Kareska's Favor with this staff, and now we have heat. So we have 3-4 different ways to add extra damage on top of our fire spells, making us hit super hard, as you saw in the intro, taking out high HP targets very easily. All right. And of course, it also comes with a free fireball and a wall of fire, which is very nice because those cost high spell slots. Okay. So that's the item that I chose, and make sure you cast light every time, every long rest on your Marco Heshkir to activate the ring combo, which we're going to talk about a little later. Okay, so Marco Heshkir, easily the best in slot. Now the staff that you can use before this is you can use the incandescent staff. Comes with a free fireball. Okay, I don't like using this staff. It's more so for burst damage. I would recommend using something more like Melf's First Staff, which gives you a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. I would use something like this more so. What else can you use? I think that's the only thing. You could also use Spell Sparkler. You know, if you find yourself casting Scorching Ray a lot, you can also use Spell Sparkler. It also works well with Magic Missile, which is another spell that you have, so why not? So yeah, so pretty good options here. Spell Sparkler, Melf's First Staff, Incandescent Staff. You can get those very super early, but of course the best end game, the best slot is none other by far than Marco Heshkir, which you can get in Act 3 at Sorcerer Sundries, underneath in the vault, not in the vaults, in the room underneath the place that you talk to Lorokin. Boom. And of course, if you're confused on any items and how to get them, you can either Google them or look at my videos. I have a item guide on how to get each and every single best item in Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. So if you're confused, I'd recommend watching those videos alongside this one. Alright? But Marco Heshkir, definitely best in slot. And as far as the offhand, I wanted the shield proficiency because I wanted this build to be semi-tanky. You know, normally glass cannon spellcaster builds are very squishy, and I didn't want that because, well, I was trying to solo the game with a character like this, just to see if I could, and I did, by the way. So I chose a shield, and the best spellcaster shield is Cleric, because you get a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. All right. And you also have advantage on dexterity saving throws, which is stuff like Fireball and Wall of Fire, by the way. So that's good too. You can get Kethric's shield, obviously, by defeating Cleric at the end of Act 2. Get his shield, and I think he also has a pretty good chest as well. But for this build, we're going to use his shield. Alright? For our stat stick range weapon, this is my new favorite for mostly on my builds because you get a +3 bonus to initiative rolls and advantage on perception checks. 2 really good things in one line. Unfortunately, this bow is kind of hidden. You can find this bow in Rivington, which is the first map in Act 3. It is a hidden vendor. I forgot what their name is, but again, just Google it to find them. And also do not have Shadowheart in your party because it will activate some type of interaction where you will not be able to trade with that person. So there you go. Hellrider Longbow, definitely one of the best stat sticks in the game as far as range weapons go. Alright. Let's go to the hat now. The Birthright. This is the go-to hat for any sorcerer, charisma, spellcaster type build, because you can boost your charisma up to 22 past 20, which gives a +1 to your damage, a +1 to your spell attack rolls, a +1 to your, charisma ability checks, everything. Super good here. Now, another option, which you're probably thinking to yourself, is the Pyro Quickness hat, which is basically whenever you deal fire damage, you get an extra bonus action. And of course, this being an action economy game, this would normally be the best in slot for this build. Unfortunately, I'm sad to tell y'all, this is bugged. This hat has been bugged for a very long time. I don't know when they're going to fix it. Basically, it doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it uses 2 bonus actions, and I don't know why. If someone could tell me down in the comments why this hat doesn't work all the time. It works sometimes, and when it does, it's great. Okay? But when it doesn't, it's like you're wasting a hat. You're wasting a gear piece, right? So this would be best in slot, trust, if it worked, but it doesn't. It doesn't work all the time, unfortunately. So, but if you want to use this hat, go ahead. It'll work sometimes. Y'all know me. I like going for consistency, and as far as consistency goes, this hat is not bugged. This works all the time, so we use the birthright. All right. And of course, you can get this off of Sorcerer's Sundries as well. That same place, except it'll be at the vendor in the front door at the reception desk. Okay. For the cloak, obviously we're going to use Cloak of the Weave for that extra +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. Okay, the absorb elements don't really matter because we don't deal weapon attack damage. The first line is super good, and of course you can get this at Hellsick. She has a shop and a secret shop. That secret shop you have to unlock through, I think you can make some perception checks around her shop, or you can find like a note to activate her secret shop or her second quest. You gotta do something to activate Hellsick. Again, Google it if you don't know. I don't really know exactly, but I know just by exploring around Act 3, eventually she opens up her secret shop and she sells the Cloak of the Weave, which is easily the best in slot for any type of spellcaster build. Alright. For the chest piece, we're going to use the Robe of the Weave, kind of a weave theme going here, and you can find this in the same spot that you can find the Marco Hesh gear. You got to make some intelligence checks, and like I said, this is your intelligence check character, so hopefully you follow the guide with that. Otherwise, if you have a bard in the party, just use them instead. But of course, we're going to use Robe of the Weave for, again, the same line like our other items, +1 bonus spell save DC and spell attack rolls. All right, the goal is to get our DC and attack rolls high enough to where we can hit them hard and hit them all the time and hit them often, right? And of course we get a nice +2 AC to our that adds with our dex, you know what I'm saying? For our gloves, this is where it gets spicy. For our gloves, we're going to use Thermo Arcanic gloves. Whenever you deal fire damage, you gain 2 turns of heat. Now, here's the problem. Heat is great. Heat is a great way in adding extra damage to our fire attacks. I recommend using heat as soon as it pops up on your passive list. When you have heat items and when you're dealing damage with fire, a thing will pop up here called heat convergence. Just look back in the intro if you didn't see it. You have to make sure you tick heat convergence every time you have it. Otherwise, it gets dangerous for your character. There have been some times where my character took 0 damage from the battlefield but still died because I killed myself off of heat turns. Okay, so make sure you are constantly turning on the heat convergence to turn the heat on yourself into damage for your fire spell attacks. That is very important to know. All right, but yeah, you can get these gloves. Honestly, I forgot, so just Google it or look into my past videos. All right. As far as alternatives, there really isn't really alternatives here because this is the best gloves and you can get them pretty early. So just use these gloves. As far as alternatives for these cloaks, for these items that I forgot to mention, just use freaking, I don't know, any type of defensive cloak like Cloak of Protection, Cloak of Displacement. You could even use the Invis Cloak, but this is clearly by far the best in slot. And as far as the robe goes, you can use, I think the best option early, the Protective Sparks Wall, because it gives a +1 bonus to spell save DC. Now you can get this in the Underdark, so in Act 1 at the Grim Forge. Yeah, it's the bridge where you have to pass like 10 trap checks and have and find a key on the skeleton on the floor. So unfortunately, yeah, this is kind of a bitch to get, but it is your best choice until the Robe of the Weave. And of course, if you're using the spellcaster, like I mentioned, you also get a +1 bonus to your armor class and saving throws when you have lightning charges. And with a spell sparkler in battle, that should be all the time. All right. Otherwise, you can use, which gives you a +1 bonus spell save DC as well. It doesn't have the better line like this one, like the Sparks Wall, but it does have the more important +1 spell save DC. And you can get this, I believe, in one of the Act 2 Moonrise vendors. I don't know who, but that's where you can get them at. But for sure, by far, the best in slot is Robe of the Weave. All right, let's go to the boots. The boots, whenever you burn an enemy, you gain 2 turns of heat. And whenever you cast a fire spell, you're pretty much burning an enemy. All right, and this is another heat item. Okay, so now we're stacking heat from our boots, heat from our gloves, and heat from our weapon. So we should pretty much have max heat every time we cast a fire spell. And of course, please make sure when you see the heat converters and your passive pop up, please toggle that so you don't kill yourself in battle. I can't stress that enough, okay? I've killed myself way too much not being able to do that, all right? It's kind of an annoying thing, an annoying habit to have with this build, but trust, it's worth, okay? And you can get this, I think you can get this also pretty early. I think you can get this in Act 2. I forgot, so just Google it or watch my Act 2 video like I said. But these 2 items with this build are super duper good, alright? Let's move on to the jewelry. Now, for the amulet, I chose the Amulet of the Devout because we get a +2 to our spell save DC. And you also get an additional use of your channel divinity, but we really don't want to use that anyway. It doesn't really matter. But we want to use this amulet mainly for the +2 spell save DC. So now, anyone making a DC against our fireball or our wall of fire most likely will not, because our DC is so damn high. It's like 25+ at this point, maybe even more, okay? Another good option, you can get this off of Stormshire Tabernacle, which is the frickin' religion place near the lower city in Act 3. That big map, the big city in Act 3. All right, it is the first building on the right, okay? And it will be, there will be a hatch there that you can go under, and there will be a chest all the way at the end of that hallway, and it'll have this amulet. Now you will be cursed, and you will be attacked by an angel that's easy to defeat, but there will also be other chests in that hallway. Do not open those other chests. Trust me, those items are not worth it. The only item worth it underneath the Stormshire Tabernacle is the Amulet of the Devout, which gives a +2 bonus to our spell save DC, okay? Another option, or another amulet to use before you get to this point, is the Spellcrux Amulet, which means you can restore your level 6 spell slot or any high level spell slots after you use them. This is also pretty good. I used this before I got the Amulet of Devout. Another good option is if you didn't go Warcaster, you can also use Amulet of Greater Health if no one else in your party is using it, because you have advantage on your Constitution saving throws, which means, you know, sticking haste or sticking your wall of fire will most likely be the case with this. But for me, I like offense. I like burst damage, so I chose Amulet of the Devout. Alright, so the ring combo. Obviously, we're going with the go-to ring combo here for any spellcasting build. It's Coruscation plus the Callus. These 2 can be obtained in Act 2, and they're so good early because the Coruscation ring applies a debuff, and the Callus ring applies damage on top of that debuff. Super duper good, and I would not switch these rings out for anything else just because they align so well with spellcasting builds, okay? And those are the items and the gear that I used for this build and throughout the game. And there you go, y'all. There is my Fire Lord build, the best leveling fire spellcaster that you will be able to play throughout the game. And I'm going to make builds. I plan to make a best team comp video guide to be able to complete Baldur's Gate 3. And this is one of the first ones that will be included into that party, because the Fire Sorcerer, once they get Fireball, once they get Haste, once they get Wall of Fire, it is really an unstoppable force, and it makes some fights that are supposed to be hard one-turn KOs. So super good. And if you have any other input or any 2 cents to put in, you know, what your preferences are for spells or multi-classes or items or gear choices, please feel free to put any of your input down in the comments, because I read all of them. All right, I like learning more about this game. This game's very fun. I can't wait to make more content. I can't wait to play it more. Okay, and of course, the more that I learn from you guys, the more content that I can make myself. You know what I'm saying? And I know some of you out there are also making some fire BG3 content as well. All right, so. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. All right. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell if you can. All right. Because believe it or not, all those little clicks really matter when it comes down to that YouTube algorithm. And that shit is brutal. Trust. All right. But yeah, man, appreciate y'all watching. I'm out of here. I will see y'all on the next video build, which will be an educational build. And I don't know what I'm doing for that, but I guess you're going to find out whenever I release it. All right. So with that being said, y'all have a good one, and I will see y'all on the next video build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. All right. Peace.